During this video, I'm going to go over doing color adjustments. So on this guy here, with his friend, I'm going to select them. And the general path I've been using in here is going to image, adjustments, hue, saturation, setting the saturation then to -34. It's way too bright. If you look at before and after, now it's not quite as bright, not quite as saturated. Then go to image, auto color. So it makes it look more realistic. This one is a bit bright if you look at his shirt, so let's bring that down just a slight bit because it almost has the same effect as the saturation did. So there's brightness, so image, adjustment, so there's brightness there. Another one is if we look at the colors in there, if we go to adjustments, color balance looks very green in that room. So I can bring down the greenness just a little bit. That seems fine. And then we'll look at this. They look very red, their faces. That could just be they have very red faces, but try moving it a bit, see if it helps. Seems about right. So not much need to change in color balance. And we go to image. Go to lastly auto tone. So I didn't like that time. Most of the time it's okay, but this time I don't like it. Again, you're trying to make them look not like a photo as much as you're trying to make them look so this is, if you were to look at them right now, would that look like an actual person as though you're seeing them? So the next thing is we'll do this girl here. So image, we'll do adjustments. She's definitely very matted by the look of her. It doesn't really make much of a difference for exposure. She does need to be lighter as far as not being so bright as far as the saturation is concerned. Then auto color, that cleaned it up a lot. So she does seem realistic. She's a little bright there. You have to look at the background when putting down the brightness. So say it looks realistic. Next, look at the color balance. It's a little yellowish in that room. The red should go down a slight bit, not too much. And that's fine. Next, image. And then, as I said, as the last step, auto tone, check how that works. And I got the tones about right. So not much changed. Next, we did her, and we did this girl here. As you can see, she's very bright. It's going to be very hard to bring down the contrast here for this picture. So if we, because the other parts of it will go down at the same time. Because she has this very bright parts of her face, so I'm not going to go over that right now. And with him, I'll try fixing him up a bit. We'll do, we can bring down the saturation quite a bit with him. You don't want to make him look too pale. An image, we want to do auto color. That looks good, except now he looks too purplish. Well, it's funny the way the color of his shirt completely changed. Then image, adjustments, but I'm just focusing on his face and the things in the background as far as it would look like a real person. Image, adjustments. Then we'll look at the brightness. Definitely want to bring the brightness down a bit. Not so much so it looks dark. The contrast is a bit much in there. So there's before, there's after. So that's definitely too bright, and now it's a little less bright, so it looks more realistic. Then image, adjustments. And we'll look at the color balance. He does look a bit yellowish. We'll pull back on the yellow. and the red looks a bit much. There. In fact, I had to increase the red a slight bit, but it's very close. Now lastly, we'll go to Image, Auto Tone, and there. So it looks good, but we still need to adjustment, brightness, bring down the brightness just a slight bit. A little too bright in comparison to the other people in here because it'll push everything off. Now we'll go quickly through the next row. So I've selected this area. Again, go up here to the control because this overlaps here. We don't want to change one below. Change the control to negative. Top for the marquee. There, now we cut that out. Now let's just change her. So again, start off adjustments. Hue and saturation, negative 34. Image, auto color. Too bright, adjustments, brightness, put down brightness. Not too much, just about right. Then image, adjustments, color balance. Is it too much of any one color? Yeah. Not too green, she's not red enough. She's too yellow. Because if you put it too yellow, it looks like a faded picture. So that looks better. And then lastly, image, auto tone. Now we're done. So let's do this one. He's way too green in this picture here. Again, make sure we reset it to the first tool here. So new selection, because otherwise we just be trying to take away stuff. But again, here there's some overlap. So the control, go to negative. Here, deselect this area. Image, adjustment, hue saturation, negative 34. He definitely looks better than he did before. There's him before, there's him after. It's a bit dark, but it's better. Image, auto color. Well, that's a big difference. It doesn't look too bright. It looks a little, but I don't want to change his brightness because it'll affect his face, which is already dark. An adjustment, color balance. Definitely looks too red, at least his face. So we'll bring it down a bit. So it's not as red, but he's looking turtleish. Maybe more like that. It's a bit yellow, so I'll bring him more towards the blue. That's good. It's not too bright. If anything, it needs to be increased in brightness, but that's fine. Then we'll go lastly to image, auto tone. And it's too yellow still, so image, color balance, it's way too yellow. I don't think we could do much about that. So that's fine. We may have to bring the brightness down a little bit so it fits in with the other ones. Or actually increase it for his face. And that seems good. Next, we'll do this guy. And as you see, when we look at that guy where we started off with and where we end off with, it looks like he had a haze over him and now he looks good. So there's a big difference here with very little effort. So we'll select now the next guy. Again, I have the negative selected, so I need to select the final for this left for the marquee tool. I've selected the guy again. Now I'll go to adjustments, negative 34 for saturation. So if you look at before, after, it's quite a bit. The difference, image, adjustments. We'll go to auto color, of course, and that looks way more realistic now. Is it bright enough? Yes. What about the color balance? Still seems a bit green in that room. His face is a bit red. He's wearing a lot of red stuff, but whatever. It's definitely not yellowish. That seems about right. Now image, auto tone to end off with, and that seems good. Next we'll start off with another, and we'll look at before and after. Next we'll look at this photo here, this girl in the middle. We'll look at hue saturation, -34. Doesn't make any difference because she's not oversaturated. Image, auto color, that's pretty good. Auto tone looks pretty good. See, you could always jump ahead very quickly by just doing auto color and then auto tone. I prefer doing it individually, so if you want to run through these, you could do it that way. But you could also do individual adjustments, which is why I went through them earlier, so you get an idea of how they're done. But I'll do this guy manually again. So this guy just lounging around. So again, hue saturation -34. I'm gonna auto color him so it looks way more realistic. His color balance, he's a bit yellow in there. Make him a little more bluish. And it's a bit red, but we'll bring him down a bit. It's greenish, he's fine. There, that does seem better. Now we'll do lastly, is he too bright? He's not too bright, in fact he's not bright enough. We'll bring up the brightness. There, that's better. Now image, auto tone is the last step. There. So the before and the after. And we'll do the girl here. We only have one more after that. Okay, so she's very matte. So you could tell it was scanned. So image, adjustments, hue, saturation, -34. And it was just, her photo wasn't overexposed like the others. So image, auto color. So she's definitely looking better. Now adjustments, she too bright? No. So we'll look at the color balance. Is there something that's too much of or too little of? She's not red enough. Seems to have lost color. Not too much, somewhere around there perhaps. And magenta, don't want to make her yellow. She definitely seems better. Now we'll look at image and auto tone. So she looks better than we started off with. All fuzzy, and now she's clear. And lastly, we'll look at this guy, lifting weights. His friend. So we'll go to image, just like everyone else, we'll go to image, adjustments, -34 on the saturation. So we made him look a little fuzzier, but it'll end up looking better at the end. Auto color, and see how the colors were really differentiated when we did that, like between here and here, it became way more sharp. You go to image, and then we go, okay, is he too bright, not bright enough? He seems about right. You could decrease the brightness just a slight bit, perhaps. But I don't think that's going to help anything, so we'll just leave him as is for brightness. Image, adjustments. We'll look at color palettes now. So he looks a bit yellow. So you could definitely see the difference between this and that. Looks way better when there's more blue tone in there. Green tone needs to come back a bit. and the red needs to increase a slight bit. Now, lastly, go to Image, Auto Tone, and then it gave pretty well the same thing, so I got the tone right. So now, let's look at the before and after of this. So finish version 1, that's where we ended, and that's where we are now. So this is a huge difference. Now what we can do is new snapshot and colors fixed. Now there's not really much more that we could do with this at this point. I can always go into realigning this, fixing this a little bit here. Beyond that, it's not really so difficult, and that's just something that would take about 10 minutes or something. There are not too many pages like that. But here's one page that's finally done and can be exported. This process can be just put down to about 10 minutes. At least I could do it in about 10 minutes. And so you should be able to do it in 10 minutes with practice. And that's about that.